Good morning. Hello. Sorry, this is kind of Wizard of Oz behind the curtain here. This is actually Rachel from Northland Travel talking. You can't see me on the screen right now. It might have something to do with the negative 20 temperatures outside. Who knows? But if something had to not work today, I'm glad it's the camera of my computer and not my car. We just want to welcome all of our Des Moines area travelers today. We've set up a special little presentation for you. I'm aware that some of you are already headed on this trip, and we're super excited about that. And maybe you have some friends who are who have the itch and who are looking to go somewhere fun. And so we'd like to share some more information about the Fall Spectacular in the Southeast with you today. It is going in October of 2021. And I'm going to let, of course, Deb, who plans the trip, and she'll actually guide the trip, take you through what to expect on the trip. A couple things I want to mention before we get started, though. If you're joining us, you are on YouTube. And hopefully you've gotten the notification that we are live. If not, no problem. We'd love to have you catch us on the replay. If you are watching us live, please leave a comment or a question if, as we're talking about this trip, you have any comments or just any questions at the time that we can answer for you. But we are super excited you're here, and we're super excited about this trip. So I'm going to pass it on over to Rhonda.
Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you're home where it's nice and warm and have your cup of coffee or hot cocoa with you this morning. Those temperatures are very cold out there, so it's nice to kind of think about somewhere in the south and thinking about going somewhere warmer. So I just wanted to say thanks for joining us. I'll let Deb take it away, and then I might say a few things at the end before we say goodbye.
Okay, thanks, Rhonda. Good morning, everyone. As some of you know that have traveled with me before, my name is Deb Harkness, and I have been with Northland Travel for several years now. I've been in the travel business with them, I think, for about 15, going on 16 years. So through that time, we have my husband, Jim. Him and I are a team, and we travel everywhere together. And we have traveled all over the United States through the course of time here. My expertise in this is that I do the domestic motor coach tours across the United States. So with that being said, and over the years, why we've traveled north, south, east, west, we've pretty well covered the whole United States in one form or another. In addition to, we also do Alaska trips every few years as well, too. But this one this morning, as the girls have said, is the Fall Spectacular in the Southeast. And I know Carol has told us that some of you folks were expressing an interest in this. And so this is the reason that we put this together for you folks. And hopefully it will meet your expectations. We're going to do a little bit of everything and see a little bit of everything. And it should just be a fun time. And again, like Rachel said, this is for October 21st to the 31st of this year. It's an 11-day trip. And I have in the past done this trip on 3 or 4 different occasions. I do it, or some form of it, every few years. So I have been down into this area and been there a few times. So I'm very familiar with it. And it's one of the, what I consider the Golden Isles, and I'll tell you about that here in just a minute. It's one of those areas that I consider one of the hidden gems of the United States. It's just a beautiful area, and I think if you go with us, you're going to totally agree. With that being said, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the day-to-day planning on how we're going to go through this trip. The first day, we will pick you up and most of you are from the Ankeny, Des Moines area. And so we will pick you up in Ankeny. If you have been traveled with us before, or if you have been to any of our travel shows, you know that we pick you up, and our travel shows are there at the Ramada Hotel in Ankeny. That's right there on Delaware Avenue as you come in to Ankeny. It's exit 92 off of I-35, and then it's just a little jog over to the hotel. So if you haven't been there before, it's very easy to find. That is where we will pick you up, and we'll start off our journey from there. We will travel all day. The first day will be an all day of traveling, and we will travel first night down to Collinsville, Illinois. Collinsville is just right across the Mississippi River from St. Louis. So you're in the St. Louis area. So that's where we'll spend our first night. And our first night will be at a Drury hotel. If you have not stayed at a Drury before, or you have not traveled with me before, I try and pick up Drury hotels. They're not all over the country, but there's quite a few of them scattered around. And every chance I get and every opportunity I get, I like to stay at Drury hotels. They're very, very group friendly. And they've got a lot of perks that everybody seems to enjoy. When we get in there in late afternoon, one of the things that they have every night from 5:30 to 7, this is what the hotel offers at every one of their Druries, is that they have what they consider their Drury kickback. And what that is they have a happy hour from 5:30 to 7 o'clock every night. And so once you get in there and you get checked in, you can come down and have a couple complimentary drinks. They offer usually a couple types of beer, tap beer, a few different wines. They'll make you a mixed drink or whatever if you'd like. So that's always fun to just sit back and relax and enjoy that. Also, another fun thing that Drury does, or very convenient for groups, is that they have like a buffet style meal that they have set out for you every night. It consists of everything from salad usually. They usually have a soup of some kind there you can choose from. Usually a main entree. Sometimes it's a pasta dish. Sometimes it's grilled chicken. It varies and changes from night to night. They have a taco night. Baked potatoes, hot dogs, you name it. It's a nice variety of different selections there. So that's always a fun thing with the Druries. And again, this is all, the meal and the drinks are all complimentary. So it's nice to when we get into the hotel, then when we are at these Druries, that you don't have to worry about getting back on the bus and going out for supper that night. We've got everything there. You're able to just stay there. So that's one of these perks. And again, like I said, we stay at those every chance we get. And we've got a couple different Druries on this trip that we stay at. Okay, so we'll be there in the St. Louis area the first night. And then the second day, we will, on day 2, which is a Friday, we will travel from St. Louis down to Nashville. It will take us most of the day to get down there. But then that night when we get there, and we'll get you checked into your hotel there in Nashville, and then we're going to get to go see the Grand Ole Opry that night. You don't go to Nashville without taking in the Grand Ole Opry. So we're going to get to see that night. So that'll be fun. The next morning, day 3, we will travel from Nashville to Chattanooga, Tennessee. And Chattanooga is a really neat place if you haven't been there before. And we'll just briefly be there for a few hours. But while we're there, we're going to take in the Incline Railway. And what that is that that is the world's steepest passenger railway. And that goes up to the top of Lookout Mountain. We get up there, and there is some nice lookout platforms that they've got a gift shop and that up there. But they've got some nice lookout platforms that you're able to walk out on, and you overlook the entire Chattanooga Valley. You'll see all of Chattanooga and the beautiful valley there. So it's really a pretty spectacular sight. One neat thing is that we'll be traveling in late October, and so all the fall colors should be blooming. So I think you'll really enjoy that. So we will leave Chattanooga area then, and then we will travel down to Macon, Georgia, where we'll get into Georgia and spend the next night then in Macon. And the next day then, which is day 4, we will leave Macon, and we're going to travel on down, headed down into Georgia, further into southeast Georgia now. and we'll be going, taking a little detour off the main road there, and we're going to go over to Fort Valley, Georgia area, and we're going to stop and visit the Lane Valley Orchards. As most of you probably know, Georgia is known for its two main producers are peaches and pecans. And this Lane Valley Orchards has thousands of acres there that they produce. You'll see oodles and oodles of pecan trees and peach trees and all that kind of stuff. And then we will go visit their big store that they have right there on the orchards. And they have a nice selection of all kinds of pecan goodies. You can buy 2, 3, 4 pound bags of pecans and bring them home with you. They have all kinds of peach items there, peach preserves, peach jam, peach everything, you name it. It's all kinds of peach stuff. And so we'll get to do a little shopping there. We'll also have lunch there while we're there, and they have the most delicious peach ice cream there. It's fantastic. So I think you'll enjoy that. So after we leave there, then we will travel on down further into southeast Georgia and get down to the Golden Isles area, which is one of the highlights of this trip. We will be spending 2 nights there, about 2.5 days and 2 nights there in the Golden Isles area. The Golden Isles, if you're not familiar with them, that's way down in southeast Georgia. Matter of fact, you're about 50 miles, I'd say, north, just a little north of Jacksonville, Florida. So we're way down there in the corner. But the Golden Isles are made up of, they have several different, it's on the inlet there, the inlet that comes down. And their main 3, they have several islands there, and some of them are uninhabited, but the 3 main ones that they have are Brunswick, St. Simon's Island, and Jekyll Island. And they, even though they're all separate islands, we don't have to get in boats to go from one island to the other. They're all connected by a causeway, by separate causeways. And I think most of you know what a causeway is. That's like a long bridge that connects one island to the other island. So we just travel across these causeways as we island hop for the next couple of days here. And it's our lodging for the 2 nights that we will be down there is on Jekyll Island, and it's right on the waterfront. So you'll be able, once you get settled in that night, you'll be able to go out and put your toes in the sand and your feet in the water and just enjoy the nice warm water. Again, this the tide comes in and goes out there, so it's always fun to watch that happen. But you'll get to see all that because our hotel's right there. Then we will take you out that night and have a nice meal out. And then the next day, which is the day 5, we will be and we'll have a step-on guide while we're in the Golden Isles and when we get up to Savannah. We'll have step-on guides in both of these places. And our guide more than likely will meet us the night that we get in there, the night before, and she'll take us to where we're going to have our supper that night. And then she will then that next morning come back and meet us again. And then we will start out our tour of the area. And the first thing we're going to do that morning is we're going to take a historic tram tour of Jekyll Island. Jekyll Island is referred to as what used to be Millionaire's Island. Back in the early 1900s, I think it was, the rich folks of New York and Boston area and all that, that had money to burn, they didn't like the cold winters up there in New York. So what a lot of them did is that they purchased homes and had homes built down on Jekyll Island. And that's how it got the name Millionaire's Island. And so what they would do is they would take a train from New York or Boston or wherever and take it down to southeast Georgia, and then they would winter there or spend at least some vacation time there. So they have built, over the course of time, then they built some fabulous mansions down there, just really, really neat historic mansions. And after this come to pass and these New Yorkers and that didn't do this anymore, they, the folks there then kept these mansions up, and they've restored them now over the course of the years. And so they do, it's a tourist attraction now. So we'll take this tram tour around Jekyll Island. We'll see several of these really neat historic mansions. We'll go inside of a couple of them. There's some historic churches there that you'll see, and you'll just learn all about this area. So it's really, really a neat thing to see. Then that afternoon, we will travel over to St. Simon's Island, and there we will visit Fort Frederica, which is another historical back in the war days, and you'll learn all about that. It's a neat place. And then there's Christ Church, and this is a very neat, small little church, but a beautiful little church to visit, and you'll learn the history of that as well. In addition, when we visit Christ Church there, they have some beautiful flower gardens around the church there that you'll get to take in. Volunteers come in there and are just experts at what they do, and so they keep these flower gardens really, really, really looking nice. So we'll get to do that, and then we'll have dinner that night at Iguanas right there in St. Simon's. If you haven't traveled with me before, when we travel around to these different areas, I like to take in the local cuisine, you know, whether it be in the Southeast and we're along the water where you got fresh seafood to get. Why, I'm going to get you 2-3 meals of fresh seafood and that kind of thing. If you go to Wyoming or you go to Texas with me, we're going to take in barbecues or whatever's popular in that area. I like to take in that local cuisine so that we get a chance to taste, to take in that. So the 2 or 3 nights that we're here in this area, between here and Savannah, we will be having some nights of fresh seafood. The next day then, which is day 6, that Tuesday morning, then we will, again, our step-on guide will meet us, and we're going to travel out to Hoffel Plantation. This plantation represents the history and culture of Georgia's rice crop. And so you'll get to learn all about that. That too is a very historic place, and they've got some folks that have that give you the tour out there that have been there forever, and so they grew up in this area and they grew up on the plantation, so they'll be able to share all their information with you on that. By then, we'll have spent a couple of days in the Golden Isles area, so that afternoon we will leave there, and we're going to travel north up to Savannah. Savannah is about, I'd guess, 3 hours maybe north of the Golden Isles down there. So we'll get in there in the afternoon, and again, we'll be met by our another step-on guide that will be with us for the next 2.5 days or so there in Savannah. And she will take us that afternoon out to Old Fort Jackson. And this is another Civil War historic fort. And you'll get to see, the big walls still stand around the fort. And inside they've still got the big guns, and they'll shoot those off and all that for us. And it's just a pretty neat place to see. That night then we'll get checked into the hotel there in Savannah. And then that night we'll go to River House Seafood for our supper. If you're not, again, so I might want to clue in, if you're not a seafood person, all these restaurants always have other choices that you can choose from. You don't have to eat seafood. Day 7, then that gets us into Wednesday, day 7. And again, our step-on guide, she joins us, and she's going to take us down through the historic district of Savannah. If you haven't been to Savannah before, it's a very neat historic old town. They have oodles and oodles of the old oak trees that are, some of them hundreds of years old. They're just huge, and you'll see several of them all throughout the city there, with all the Spanish moss hanging off of the trees, and it's pretty neat. And then in the historic district down there, they have several parks that are kind of a block square, some of them, and where they have beautiful gardens inside these parks. And then there's monuments in there, and there's beautiful old oak trees. within these parks, and you'll get to walk through those and see all that our guide takes us through, and again tells us all the history of all that. So that's fun. Then that afternoon, we will temporarily get out of Savannah and go on the outskirts and go out into what's referred to as the low country of Savannah. I'll let our guide tell you more about that when we get down there and explain just what the low country is. But one of the things we'll be doing is going out and visiting Tybee Island while we're out there. And this is a commercial island, so to speak. There's lots of souvenir shops and all that out there that you'll get a chance to shop in those for a little while. And it's, again, obviously right on the waterfront, so you'll get lots of time to walk up and down, find yourself some lunch and walk up and down the beachfront there. They also have what I think is so cool about Tybee Island is that they have this long pier. I would guess it to be maybe a quarter of a mile, I'd say, that goes out over the ocean out there, and you get out there and you feel like you're almost walking on top of the ocean. It's really a neat thing to see. So we'll be doing that afternoon. And then also that afternoon, or that morning, we'll be visiting there. And then that afternoon, we are going to go for a dolphin watch cruise. And we'll get on a boat that holds, 40, 50 people, something like that. And they'll take us out into the inlets there and where the dolphins come in. And you'll get to see all kinds of dolphins playing around there, jumping and feeding and playing and doing their acrobatic flips and all that stuff that they do. Those are fun to watch. So we'll get to take in those and usually get some pretty good pictures while you're out there as well. And then we will come on back to that night. Then we'll come back into Savannah. And that night we're going to have supper at Paula Dean's Creek House Seafood and Grill. If any of you are too familiar with Paula Dean, she is born and raised in the Savannah area. And she has a few different restaurants down through there. And this one here, this one is nestled under the palms of Turner Creek. And this is just a recently opened restaurant of hers. And it's becoming a favorite of many of the locals. So I think it'll be cool to be able to do that. That then is the end of day 7, Wednesday. And that kind of wraps up our time in the Savannah area. So the next morning, we'll stay that night in Savannah again. And then the next morning, we will leave Savannah and we're going to travel over into North Carolina. And our next stop will be in Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte's kind of, if you're familiar with the layout of North Carolina, Charlotte's kind of in the middle there of North Carolina. And so we're going to travel there. And that afternoon, then, we're going to visit the Billy Graham Library, which is located there. This is a very, very neat place to see. It's a 40,000 square foot complex that showcases his numerous presentations he's done. There's pictures, there's music, there's some of his artifacts that are there. And in addition, they brought in his childhood home, and that sits there. And this is also the final resting place of Billy Graham. So you'll get to see that too. And that night, then, after we leave there, we will be staying in Charlotte for our overnight lodging. Again, this is another Drury, so you'll get those perks that I talked about earlier there. Then the next day, we will leave Charlotte the next morning, and we'll travel over into western North Carolina, the very western coast of North Carolina, over to the Asheville area, and we're going to visit the Biltmore Estates. I'm sure several of you have probably already been to the Biltmore. They're very well known down there. And we will take a few hours and tour there. We'll do an audio self-guided tour of the estate. And this too is a historic, beautiful, beautiful mansion. And they've really kept it up neat. And what I like about, one of the main things I like about Biltmore is, in addition to the neat, historic, huge, huge mansion that this is, they have some really neat, beautiful gardens that surround the whole complex there. and they're very prestigiously kept up by the flower experts there. And you'll get to see all those. And again, there's some really good candid picture shots that you'll get a chance to take of all these beautiful flowers. So we'll tour that. That, like I said, will be an audio self-guided tour of the actual estate. And then before we leave there, we're going to visit one of their cafes that's right on the grounds there, and we'll have lunch there on the Biltmore Estate grounds. So that'll be fun. And then we'll leave there, and then we will travel to, Knoxville, Tennessee, where our lodging for that night will be there in Knoxville. Then the next day, that gets us into day 10, Saturday. And this morning, then we will travel from Knoxville over to Lexington, Kentucky. And as most of you know, Lexington is the heart of horse country. And even if we're going to stop and visit this old friend's horse farm. And even if you're not a horse fanatic, I think you're really going to enjoy this. This is a really unique farm. What this gentleman has done that owns and manages this farm, he and his wife were former New York or Boston area folks that were in the financial business. And I think they were authors of books and so on and so forth, things like that. And they took a vacation one summer down. The gentleman has always been a Kentucky Derby fan and followed that closely, and he enjoyed horses. And one summer they took a vacation down to the Lexington, Kentucky area and fell deeply in love with the area. They went back, packed up in New York, and they moved to the Lexington area down there and have been there past 20, 25 years. And what this gentleman has done is he has built up this farm. If you stop and think about it, the Kentucky Derby horses, once they only run, are able to do the race and that and run for, maybe a couple of years max. And so if these horses that have ran the derbies have done their thing there, if they have also, outdid their breeding purposes and all that kind of thing, they really have no place to go after this. So this gentleman has taken it under his wing to take in all of these retired famous racehorses, and he just lets them live as he calls the retired life there. And it's really interesting. He has these huge multi-acre pens built for the horses, and they're just able, for the first time in their life, to get out and be able to run free. So you'll get to see all that. He's very, very in tune to these horses. It's obvious he loves them to death. And he goes up to the gate, and we walk up there to the fence with him, and the horses come running up. And so he talks all about them and tells you what races they've ran. And he's got, like I said, he's got some winners, Kentucky Derby winners there that he'll let you feed. He has carrots and apples and horse feed and all that stuff, and you'll get to feed him if you want. And so anyway, it's just a very unique place to visit. And like I said, you don't have to be a horse lover, and I think you'll enjoy this. So we will do that. Then after we leave there, we will travel up to Indianapolis, and we will spend our last night out then in the Indianapolis area. Then the next morning, which gets us into day 11, that's the day then our journey comes to an end, and we will travel back home and get you back to your home port where we picked you up. So I think that's pretty well all as far as the information on the actual trip that I can share with you, or that I have here to share with you. I did want to talk a little bit about pricing. The pricing right now for this trip for you folks is $24.49 per person, double occupancy, $32.99 per person, single occupancy, and $22.74 per person, triple or quad occupancy. And I know some of you folks watching here and listening this morning have already signed up for this trip, and that's great. But for those of you that have not signed up for it and are thinking about doing it, I strongly suggest you don't wait too long to do this for a couple of reasons. Number one, to get these rates that I just mentioned here, you'll get these rates as long as you sign up before March 21st. If you sign up after March 21st, the rate goes up $175 per person. So you're getting a really good deal by signing up now. And also, and I'll talk a little bit more about COVID here in a little bit, but also due to COVID, and hopefully by the time October comes, that COVID's pretty well in our rearview mirrors, and we're not having to deal with, everything like we are now. But we, until further notice, are going to be going with 50% capacity on our motor coaches, which means our total that we are taking on for groups ranges anywhere from 22 to 25 people max. And so these trips are filling up a lot faster than they normally would. But we, our main goal, of course, through all this is to keep everybody safe. And so we are going to obviously be practicing social distancing. And like I said, hopefully by then things are a whole lot calmer. But my whole point now is to say that these trips fill up fast. So please don't wait too long to think about this. If you're think this sounds like a good deal, why please call Rhonda and go ahead and get signed up. Your travel experience, our package deal, if you haven't traveled with us before, it obviously includes the motor coach transportation. It includes 10 nights of lodging. And then we take care of your luggage. Everyone is allowed to bring one suitcase with them. And that suitcase, then we do take care of the luggage. When we meet you at your pickup point on the first morning, we will take your luggage from you, put it in the luggage bay underneath the bus. And then you will not have to manhandle that luggage anytime between then and the day you get back home. Each evening, we unload the suitcase off of the bus for you, and we deliver it right to your room. Either our bus staff, or else most times it's the hotel lodging that takes care of the luggage. So it is delivered right to your room. And then the next morning, we give you the time that it needs to be set outside of your hotel door, and then they come by, pick it up, and load it on the bus. Everybody usually always brings carry-ons while you're on the bus, while we're traveling, and usually like one carry-on per person. And those are going to be your responsibility. You don't put those under the bus. You bring those with you up on top of the bus. And again, with us just doing this 50% capacity, we've got plenty of extra room for you to set your carry-on either in the overhead up above or in an extra seat around that's around you there. So, but you are responsible for that. We don't handle that. But so that's always a good thing. And then another thing that's always included on our package deal is obviously all tickets and admissions to all events and attractions that we go to. And then in this particular trip, 19 meals are included in. Breakfasts are always included in at the hotel every morning. And then there's days when maybe a lunch will be included or a dinner at night will be included. And if you have our information sheet here like this, I'll try and get this in, you'll see where, like on that date where I got day 8 up there, and after the date, you'll see a BLD. And what that means is that stands for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that means that those are included in. On that particular day, those are the meals that are included in. So that's always a good thing. The activity level for this trip, I would consider to be moderate pace. We don't, there's no lengthy walking anywhere really on this trip. If you can conveniently or without too much stress walk, I'd say maybe a block or two. That's about as much as can be expected. And that you should be able to do fine on that. Travel insurance is also a thing that we strongly encourage folks to sign up and get. And if you don't have travel insurance yet, if you've already signed up for this trip, or if you're going to sign up, please get in touch with Rhonda and ask her about all this. She's the expert on this. She can give you pricing, and she can give you all the details on the insurance. So please don't hesitate to call her. I did want to talk a little bit about our motor coaches. We have been partnered with Aero Stage Lines now for the past 5-6 years, something like that. 100% totally satisfied with them. They are a large national motor coach company. They're based out of Omaha, Nebraska, excuse me. They're based out of Omaha, Nebraska. And they have several satellite garages throughout the whole United States. And very, very reputable company. We're 100% satisfied with them. We've never had any complaints about them. They're newer buses, usually newer buses. The seats on them are very, very comfortable. They all come with Wi-Fi. They all have electric plug-ins where you can plug in your phones or your iPads or whatever you may have with you that if you need to. And the drivers, they're always experienced drivers. Most of our tour drivers have been there for many, many years and have traveled thousands and thousands of miles across the nation. So, you know, very personable drivers. So, yeah, I think you'll feel very safe with them. Also, and what's so important in this day and age right now with COVID is that these drivers, when they pull into the hotel, their evening is by far nowhere near done. They thoroughly clean the inside of the bus each night. And now with COVID going, they disinfect. They also have this little portable machine that they take around and spray around after they've cleaned it all and wiped it all down. And then they completely disinfect the bus. So this all helps keep you totally as safe as we possibly can. And again, like I said, I hope by the time October comes that quite a bit of this whole COVID scare is behind us. Talking about the COVID procedures, and for some of them that will still be going at the time, we, at the time of this particular trip, and again, this is late October, we will be following all CDC recommendations that they're recommending at the time of this particular trip, whether it be, face masks or, whatever they're still recommending that we do. We will be following and adhering to those. Also, again, the 50% capacity on the buses, so that should allow for social distancing, which is always a good thing. It's always nice to travel with, little smaller groups anyway. I think for the most part, that's pretty well wrapped it up as far as what I have to say here. If you have any questions or concerns, again, either contact me or contact Rhonda. She'd be more than willing to help you out. If also you don't have an information sheet like this one here, go on to our website, northlandtravel.com, and you'll be able to, on there, once you get on there, you're going to see a little box on there that says group tours. And click on that group tours box, then that will take you to where all of our tours are listed. And they're listed there by months: January, February, March, April, so on and so forth. And just scroll on down to October and you'll find this trip listed. And then you're going to see the title of this trip. And then if you just click on that little box, it says view details. You'll be able to bring this sheet up and you can copy it off. If you don't have access to a computer, or if you have trouble doing this and would like this information sheet, just call Rhonda and she would be more than happy to send you one. And again, that number is scrolling across at the bottom. So with that being said, I think I'm going to back off and turn this back over to Rachel and Rhonda. And it was nice visiting with you folks this morning. And again, if you have any questions, contact us. And I look forward to getting back on the road. We've had a long dry spell here, and I think we're all ready to hit the road again. So this will be a fun trip, and we'll look forward to seeing you in October. Thanks, everybody, and stay safe. Bye-bye.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Deb. I think we're going to leave maybe about a minute. We don't have any comments yet. If anyone wants to go ahead and leave one in the comment section of the YouTube video, if you have any questions or comments, please go ahead and leave them there. We'll give you about a minute to do so. Otherwise, if you're watching this on the replay and you have a question, again, we'd love you to give us a call here. Give Rhonda a call at the number listed below. In the meantime, while I give you a few minutes, if you're new to Northland Travel, definitely check out our Facebook page. We'd encourage you to follow along with us there. We have a good time. Once these guides are out on their trips, we have a good time sharing some pictures of them out having fun and sharing different information that's coming up, specials, all that good stuff. So check us out there. If you don't receive emails from us, again, call the office. We'd love to get you on our email list just to make sure that you have travel information if you're looking to get out and about. We do travel talks live on Facebook on our Facebook page every first and third Wednesday of the month. So we'd also invite you to join us there as well. And you will have a familiar face there next week on the 17th. Deb will be leading that one again. And she's going to talk about her Wyoming tour and her Mississippi riverboat tour that will be taken off this year as well. So we'd encourage you to tune in again and listen to some more trips. And I'm just excited that my camera's up and going again. And I guess it took a little while though to warm up, but who can blame it on a day like today? So with that, I'm not seeing any comments here. We definitely thank you for joining us here and look forward to hearing more from you about this trip or if there's any other destination that you're looking for. So thanks for joining us today, and we hope that you'll visit us again to learn more about another trip. Bye-bye.
Bye.